Coming to you live from Canterbury Cathedral.
Yeah.
Ultimate 80s discussion podcast. This is Alf.
John Canterbury.
We've got John Canterbury coming to you from the past.
Are you the same guy that made Cadbury, or is that a different cathedral?
I think that's a different word and name.
This is getting weirdly confusing
Okay,
for our listeners.
I'm going to fire up the theme song.
Yeah.
Ready to... Alf.
Alf.
It's Alf time.
Alf time. It's Alf time.
This is where the record scratching would be in the remix. Okay, that's enough.
The Reaganomics theme song.
Yeah. Did you guys watch the episode?
I did. I'm fresh off it.
Me too. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Alf is Back in Pod Form, episode 5. Got it.
Yeah.
Nailed it that time.
5.
I almost said 4.
Well, we're watching 4. It is confusing because we watched 4, but it's actually 5 of the podcast.
Yeah, it's true. Episode... I believe this is the 3rd episode they recorded, because in my file, it's labeled episode 3.
Right.
So, is that interesting?
I think it's not uninteresting.
It is.
Yeah, it is a neutral fact.
I think we've had worse facts.
Involving like the death of certain actors on the program.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think they were uninteresting. Like, by worse, I meant like more dull. I think talking about whether it's interesting.
Oh, I thought you said it meant sadder.
No.
To me, worse always means sadder.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Well, I'm gonna
So, like, a worse earthquake would be a sadder earthquake.
well, more deaths. Think of Haiti.
What if there were no deaths in the earthquake? It was just worse.
It's not sad at all.
It's
No,
just
exactly.
higher magnitude. Yeah.
What would be sad about that? Just like
Very little.
yeah.
There are earthquakes going on right now in the sun. Strangely, earthquakes in the sun. Who would
I
believe?
think that probably means sunquakes, dude.
Well, you know what? Strangely, Nick, no. I looked into this with a seismologist friend named Jane Earthquake, and she said that there are actually earthquakes on the sun, not sunquakes.
Now, would Jane be willing to come on the podcast to do like a little science?
Not right now, but perhaps in the future she might be open to it.
All right.
She was once a go-go 80s Reaganomics, but she's reformed, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. I have some notes on this episode. Lost them. Gone.
Yeah. They gone.
No, I found it. It's in Google Drive.
Oh shit! I can hear myself in your. I can hear myself echoing, I think.
Is it horrendous?
You guys both, yeah.
Well, I mean,
echo.
it's hard to tell, Nick, because my voice always sounds horrendous.
Bummer.
But if you put an echo on it, it makes it sound like you're like...
Yeah.
Like
I
a
think it
priest.
makes it sound better. It's like more portentous.
Yeah. This is going to be like... Probably get the Razzie for worst podcast audio quality.
I will say that
recording.
both of you are fine on this end, so I don't know what your recording software is picking up, but it's no problem here.
I don't know either, to be honest. It's going to be a surprise.
I can finally sound both portentous and pretentious.
A lifelong goal. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what? I almost enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, it was-
might
it
be
was
going
okay.
Yeah.
on a limb, but this could be where Alpha's peaked, or at least it's definitely a high point so far.
I admit I rushed through it a little bit because I was watching How to Make a Murder on Netflix right up until I watched this, and I almost ran out of time, and I had to cram it in. But I crammed it. It's in. It's,
Yeah.
It made.
It's-
I
You,
made
you
it
feel like
fit.
you got all the
You did a
nuance?
good cramming job.
Yeah.
All the subplots?
Oh.
I will say this about Alf, is that there are very rarely subplots. Like, I mean, I think by the time Friends or something rolled around, there was traditionally like a 2-line, maybe Seinfeld started this, like a 2-line thing for the sitcom. You had the main, and then you always had the second one.
Yeah,
And
the
usually
B,
they
the
intersect
B
by the end.
storyline, I think they call it the B storyline, right?
Yeah, and Alf, nothing, none of this fancy
No.
bullshit.
Just
Like, Alf's
one
just straight
straight
down the line.
line.
Mainland, yeah.
Yeah, like a just like a unpretentious, very simple, down-home story, like your
Yes, it's
grandpappy
the
might
late
tell.
Rubicon of
Yeah,
sitcoms.
This is it was churned in an oak barrel.
yeah. I think Garrison Keillor is also a puppet, so,
Yeah.
but just by coincidence. So this
He's
is
just not he doesn't appear as a puppet, but he is an actual puppet.
he does a puppet voice. He's like, oh wow, down like oh my god. Does that sound like a puppet to you guys?
It sounded like something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like, 'cause usually with Alf jokes, they kind of like, they've got the setup and then they've got something which has the shape of a punchline but isn't funny and then the audience laughs.
Yeah.
And this one,
Yeah.
like, the punchlines were actually, oh yeah, that was actually,
Few good
recognizable
zingers.
as
A
a
joke,
joke. Yeah.
I noted all the best zingers except for
Oh,
when I
good.
wasn't paying attention. This is the fourth episode. It's called Pennsylvania 65000, which I didn't understand.
That's a really good name for the episode.
6500 Pennsylvania Avenue is the address for the White House.
Right, but what about where did they get the 1,000 from? Was that a typo?
I'm not. Maybe that's a shortwave model radio name.
I'm going to look it up.
Not model
There
radio,
is-
just shortwave radio name.
There are wikis here. I'm going to investigate.
What would be the difference between like a model radio and a real radio?
A model radio.
It's just a broken radio.
Yeah, this is just.
Could be a radio.
Yeah, it's just like, it's the
box.
shape of a radio with nothing inside. My ex-boss has a story about this actually, which is like when his boss, when he lived in New York, he got scammed, I think more than once, by these guys selling like boom boxes, because this was the 80s.
Yeah.
And they'd sell it to you like in this like a sealed container, so it looked like it was new or fresh off the back of the truck, whatever, for like $40. You get and open it, and it wouldn't work. And if you opened it up, there's nothing inside. It was just a plastic casing with a brick in it.
It's pretty good.
Okay, they still run that scam. I would happen to know.
Yeah, that's
You would.
Except they do it with MacBooks. So.
yeah.
Oh, okay, well, they've gone a little.
Yeah, it's like it's a classic like Patsy scam. What do you call that? Like a grift.
Yeah,
like,
like a short-term grift.
It really plays on because you think you're doing something wrong, so you let your guard down because you perceive yourself to be benefiting from like this low life stealing something, so you feel like naughty, right? But little do you know, you are being naughtied.
Yeah, you
Did I
are
say
being
that right?
naughtied. The grifter is naughty, but you are being naughtied, where you think you're actually being quite savvy and just sort of stepping out of line for just a second to just a little dalliance to benefit, but little do you know. Yeah.
Okay, not to break too much away from the experience of cons and short grifts in New York, but apparently Pennsylvania 65000 is the name of a song by Jerry Gray and Carl Sigma.
Oh yeah.
It's the phone number of the popular Hotel Pennsylvania in Manhattan. So it's kind of a pun.
Yeah, that makes
it's an
sense.
inexplicable pun reference to the song, I guess, because he's calling, so it's a phone.
It's not inexplicable because actually it's all of the episodes of Elf are named after songs.
You did mention that,
But
so we probably should have triggered to that.
But I don't know what Looking for Lucky is. That was the last episode, and I thought that was kind of breaking the rule because that doesn't sound like a song.
I'll have a look.
I mean, if it is, it's like a weirdly named song. Looking for a Lucky song.
Looking for Luck is the fifth and thus far final studio album by Hootie and the Bluefish.
Oh, I think
But
Really?
it was released in 2005.
so that predates Elf by 20 years.
Yeah, Alf
19
has
years.
managed to presciently. So I can't find any other reference, so all I can think is that the Alf writers are actually time travelers.
Yeah, it's possible that there was a less well-known version that the Hootie song pushed off the charts,
Yeah, that's possible.
This episode was released in October, I had it, October 13th, 1986. Ronald Reagan was elected in 1984, or was it 1982?
So they were already making Alzheimer's jokes about Reagan just 2 years into his...
Well,
No, he
were
was
they-
elected in 80, I think, initially.
Oh, right. This was,
Yeah.
okay, this is his second time round.
Yeah.
I'm a little vague on
He
it.
was elected in 80, because Bush...
Because I knew he hung out with Thatcher, so I thought he must have been like a late 70s, 80s kind of...
Yeah, no, he was elected in 1980. So like
Right.
he was in office already for for 6 years at this point. So
That makes a lot more
he was
sense.
winding down, very kind of a lame duck president at this point, except for winning the Cold War.
Do you think that they kept like each other's portraits on their desk?
Thatcher and Reagan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something to tide them over between the orgies.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking like Hitler and Henry Ford did the same thing.
Just like soulmates, like
They're just
ideological.
They're real. Mutual admiration there. I think.
Yeah, and Henry Ford was a head of state for the.
Oh no!
Company.
That doesn't matter. He was just a notable figure in history.
Probably like pretty powerful in Michigan.
Yeah, I'm sure he had some
like the
political
king of
influence.
Michigan.
Yeah,
right?
he definitely did. Yeah.
Probably.
And they are in fact all of them anti-Semites.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
That was the science of the time, so we have to forgive them.
The 80s.
Yeah. So this episode had a strong no nukes theme, which was popular in the 80s because of the threat of nuclear annihilation looming for the last 20 years, 25. And Reagan actually escalated the arms race, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He,
I honestly don't know that much about Reagan's presidency. I think I better bow out on this.
He had Alzheimer's for the whole thing.
Well, that's that, yeah.
Jelly
That
beans.
probably didn't help anything. I mean, I like the fact that, they weren't afraid to, like, basically directly reference that fact.
I did. Wait. Pause. I haven't introduced anybody yet.
Oh, right.
Okay. Wait. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe I'll cut this back in. Because I was reading stuff about like podcasts. And it was like one of the criticisms of podcasts that are like run by noobs and amateurs.
Yeah.
Not this. Not like this, but like a different one. Is that they don't. There's no proper introduction. They just kind of dive in.
Yeah.
So,
no, I think we definitely need to.
And I think I said the name of the show, right?
Yes.
All right. So, my name's Byron Hussie, host. We're joined by Nick Carey
Hello.
and Tam.
Yep. Tam here.
And this is Alpha's Back in Pod Form, episode 4.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good.
How exciting.
Business
Yes.
taken care of.
That's
Now-
who we are. That's what's happening.
I think the other thing that I really liked about this episode is that it lent considerable weight to our pet theory about Alf actually just being much, much smarter than the rest of them and just
Right,
fucking with-
because he was able to figure out how to do all that stuff.
Yeah. And like Willie inexplicably spent 10 years building technology that has been around, for many decades before that.
Oh, that's a hobbyist for you,
Yeah.
It's his own sort of.
I kind of
obsession
don't
with
want to diss on
primitivism.
him because I haven't actually built a shortwave radio,
Yeah.
so I'd have to do that before I felt I could lord it over him. But it does seem like an exceptionally long time
Yeah,
for
but,
what it's essentially a well understood.
That's like saying why homebrew when you can buy Miller Lite,
No, I think
It sounds
absolutely.
preposterous, doesn't it?
No, I think
Yeah, but if it took you, 20 years to homebrew a pint of beer, it might be.
I'm not
taste
criticizing
all the
his
sweeter.
ambition. I'm criticizing his intelligence. I just think
Yeah.
it's that hard to build a shortwave radio.
Well, maybe in 2015 you can go to any
Now I
corner
can buy
store
a kit. But
Yeah.
where that has all of the transistors and transponders and all
Yeah.
the gizmos and doodads. But Willie, he had to go to under the Radio Shack and then buy those pieces one at a time for $2,500
the
each.
blueprints have existed for many, many decades. He's not having to invent the concept.
It's true.
Right, this is a sidebar, but the point is that Alf is smarter than Willie.
I agree.
Now, hold on. I'm continuing to explore the angle that Willie is himself an alien.
Right. Okay.
So you think he did have to invent the
You
concept?
lose
of
the
radio?
point. In this
Yeah,
episode.
I think he did. What I'm saying is it took him 10 years to build because I think he needed something to occupy himself that wasn't his. Now I'm thinking sort of cybernetic family.
Right.
It built. I think they're living inside of his sort of crashed space.
It's like an insane theory, though, because basically you're saying he was able to build a family faster than it took him to build a radio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying it's like a meditative artisanal thing for him to do to build that radio. Like
So it's like hand carving a
bit by
boat.
bit.
So it's like
Yeah, exactly. It's
He
like
probably extruded the wires from some orifice.
exactly. He would have extruded like all the wires himself. Cover them in rubber himself. All that sort of thing. Whereas he could have pressed a button on his ship, on his house ship,
Right.
maybe.
This actually does make a lot more sense.
just
Yeah.
that,
Like,
no,
because
it
if you have
doesn't.
to craft,
No.
every single bit of sort of small electronics out of base
Guys,
materials,
this
then
is
it will probably take 10 years.
rank fan fiction. This is fan fiction.
I think no. I think he's trying to let Alf know that that's what the situation. Like he's trying to drop subtle clues that listen. I too am an alien because he would want Alf to investigate this curious fact that and Alf would say, well, wait, hold on, Willie's not an idiot. How
I'm
could it possibly take
skeptical.
Right.
I think, Occam's razor, Willie is an idiot, is my personal opinion.
maybe, but I wanna have more faith in him. I think he's an alien.
Well, you could take it a step further and just say that maybe it's commentary on the alienness of all of us, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could
No.
be commentary, but let's not get too sophisticated here.
So,
No one likes that.
the episode gets going here with the Alf's been on the phone a lot, and that's a problem. It's a problem for Lynn, who has a boyfriend named Lash.
Which is weird.
Yeah,
but I
well,
just
can we talk
say
about
that is
that?
a weird name.
Yes.
Anybody, especially
it was
me.
like an '80s trope that teenage girls always had like a faux punk tough guy boyfriend.
But Lash?
So that was just sort of
This
like
sounds more like a sort of dominatrix name.
no,
for like
dude,
kind of
you're not. See, this is the
softcore
thing.
S&M.
This is that. No, that's a perfect sort of multi-ethnic '80s gang name.
It's a terrible name.
Dance gang.
Yeah, maybe for a dance game. All right, I'll give you this one. This is more like if they were the town in.
He's like a double dragon character, like, like he swings a chain, he lashes you with the chain. Tam, what did you have to say about
it's
Lash?
pretty
I
lame.
feel like you had something to say, and I think this is part of this is like a culture shock thing where Nick doesn't really understand our '80s, our United States of America '80s gangs very well.
Well, Tam, as a person who was existing in the 80s in the US,
Yeah.
what do you-
I actually did not exist in the 80s.
Yeah, but-
Oh,
I
you.
existed not within living memory. I was born in 1989. So.
Oh, okay. Well, you probably don't count then either.
Did you ever see Crocodile Dundee 2?
Yes, I did.
I don't remember it, but there was probably like a gang in that. So
Yeah, there was a game. This I think 2 is that the knife or
no,
No,
that's the first
That's
one.
one.
That's
2, I
one.
think they went back to Australia.
Oh, okay, that
Like
was 2.
effects.
Yeah, so yes, I have seen 2.
Various levels.
Yeah. So
We were discussing Lynn's boyfriend called Lash, who she likes.
Yeah.
I mean, the premise is that she wants to call Lash and she can't because Alf is constantly calling up phone lines.
So this is one of the things about teenage girls is that they like the phone.
Yeah, they like being in communication.
Yeah.
It
And
actually made me nostalgic for the days pre-mobile phone.
right. Well,
Era, when,
these
when,
guys
like,
they don't
the-
even have call waiting.
Yeah, the much treasured, second line, because I remember
Yeah.
that being a status symbol of certain friends, like their parents had put 2 lines in so they didn't have
Yeah.
to get off the phone.
And
That
Willie's
was
like
actually a really big deal.
Willie's like really like we'll look into it. Like clearly he would benefit from it too. He was trying to call to say he'd be late and he couldn't.
Well, yeah, like
'cause
everyone
Alf
would
was on the
benefit.
phone.
I mean, probably they would benefit from kicking Alf out of the house. But
Right. Well, there was a funny joke because like he was gonna say Lynn was saying that her friend had 2 lines and they didn't even
right.
have an alien,
Okay.
and it was like, did they want one?
that was actually a
Yeah.
reasonable punchline. I
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
It's good. Tam, did you have anything more to say about Lash?
I did not have anything more to say about Lash. I was saying like this.
I know you're like winding up.
Yeah,
or
that was
something.
a good zinger. I do agree that was a good little zinger there. In fact, I was gonna mention it, but it was just someone else
I
got to
just
it.
stepped all over it. I just grabbed it for myself.
Yeah.
Well, there's another good line in the immediately. What's another word for like the scene after?
proximate.
No. Yeah, I guess so. The immediately proximate scene.
Succeeding.
Succeeding, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can't like success like the successful scene. So
the next in the sequence.
So the premise here is that Alpha's on the phone too much. He calls. I think it's supposed to be Larry King, and he's doing.
I wasn't sure who he was calling. It was clearly some kind of like talk show.
I think it was a Larry King inspired talk show, and he had Sammy Davis Jr. on along with
some
else.
expert.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, it's
bad recap.
Does it really matter? I mean,
it does. People want to know this shit.
Do they?
Nick, who was it other than Sammy Davis Jr.?
I honestly wasn't paying attention to the
guest. That was a little bit of casual anti-Semitism there too, because Alpha's like shalom, like it's funny that he's Jewish, like it's funny to be Jewish.
Oh no, I think there's a running sort of anti-Semitic and just sort of a racist thing there in American culture where, it's weird that he's a black guy who's a Jew.
It's worth pointing out.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So wacky.
Like it was deliberately drawing attention to
and it's like,
yeah.
And you have to kind of wink at it because everybody knows he can't really be.
He can't really.
No, it's not really. Come on. It was like Alpha's like quote unquote shalom. Yeah, right. Like.
Yeah. That shalom was dripping with sarcasm.
Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah.
Which just reminds me of like the lost tribe of Israel and Kenya.
Yeah, it reminded me of that too.
Is this real or is this?
This is something that is genuinely believed by a bunch of people.
It sounds like it's going maybe like
I think Ethiopia actually.
Is this going to be problematic?
It could be because I don't remember anything about it. I have to like read up on it.
Let's slam the brakes. Slamming the brakes on. So we establish very heavily that the premise of this episode is that Alf can't use the phone or something. So Willie takes Alf into the garage to have like a talk with him, which is a little creepy. Like, take you behind the garage, and he's got Chinese food back there, right?
Yeah, he brings some takeout.
There's another funny line, right? I won't step on this one. What was it, Tim? Do you remember?
No, I sure don't. But you just laid it out for me to fail there too. Really, just leading me around by the nose. Taking shit away from me and also just tipping me into a manhole. Thank you.
Willie was like, it's like, this is twice cooked pork. And I was like, it looks like twice eaten pork.
Yeah. Yeah. Good line.
And then there's another scene where Alf is asking for tools. And there was another episode where they were in the garage and Willie was asking for tools. So I thought it was a good callback to that. I don't know if you guys watched that one. It's the first one.
I don't know why they would do that. Why they would think anyone watching their show would think that.
I was like a good thematic. What do you call that? Like an arc.
Yeah.
Like a
Though again, I mean, I think we might be the first people to have discovered that.
It might just be like a cliched scenario that happens within a garage.
Yeah. I don't think it was intentional. Basically, I don't think that sort of mirror. Was
it's like one of these happy accidents that the writers seem to like stumble across without even noticing that they have done so.
Yeah. So Willie gives Alf a hard time for using the radio, and then by the end acquiesces to him using the radio. I mean, in lieu of the toothbrush.
Yeah, which seemed like an odd trade to me.
Yeah. And he's like, I'll buy you a toothbrush, but like, why didn't he have a toothbrush before?
Yeah, like, what was he supposed to be doing? Like, I mean, if I didn't have a toothbrush and I wasn't allowed out of the house to get one, I would probably use someone else's as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's a prisoner.
It's gross to not brush your teeth.
So this is another just human rights violation.
Yep.
Geneva Convention violation.
Oh, they don't have to worry about that, do they?
Yeah, because he's not human, but...
Yeah, he's not fully human.
Yeah, I don't think the Geneva Convention covers alien life forms at all.
Right, but it should, because really, what we're
Well, we should start a petition, but in the
sentient.
meantime...
Yeah, add language to protect all sapient life forms.
Right, and like dolphins, too, throw those in, they're...
Yeah, the Geneva Convention should definitely cover dolphins.
Yeah.
I mean, who have been used in warfare, so...
Yeah, true veteran dolphins. Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Good patriotic dolphins.
Patriotic dolphins.
So, Alf decides to call the president. I forget why. Oh, they
Because he
start
wants
talking.
to talk to him about the nukes.
Right.
Yeah,
There's the
he
nuke
wants.
theme.
Yeah, because so he gets on the nuke thing, and he's like, "This is like the '80s, and we're still in the Cold War, so it's like a big deal." And it's still technically it's still a big deal, right? Like we could still be annihilated by nuclear weapons,
Oh,
but,
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
but like we
It's
don't
just,
think about it as much anymore.
I think it's more. It's not so much that that threat has gone away, as that we've just discovered new ones that have
Right.
usurped an urgency.
Well, there's less of a day-to-day tactic of the primary world powers. I mean, in the U.S. we could do it, no problem. Like but
Yeah,
we choose
I
not
feel
to,
like
that's what makes us good people. That we're
Yeah.
not killing
the
everybody
ability
else,
to.
Does it make us good people, or does it just make us like normal? Because I think that if to use a metaphor that was used before, is it we're not in prison is basically how I see that. It's
Right.
not that's not exceptional. I think it's just that's just the normal course of events. You shouldn't call yourself good just because you're not in prison.
Yeah, I was being maybe a little
Well, I
tongue in
mean, you
cheek.
guys have used nukes offensively.
Yeah.
So this isn't actually even a moral stance you can really take.
No. It isn't.
But
It
only
isn't even
once,
that.
and it was wildly effective. So you would think
No, I mean,
we would have
it was
gotten.
twice, and it was
Well, I mean, I was counting those 2 times as one sort of main
one
time,
incident.
one incident. Yeah.
I think
I'm
the
sure
people of Hiroshima and the people of
the
Nagasaki
people of
would disagree
Nagasaki
on
probably
that point.
A minor
would
nuclear
agree with
incident.
me. They'd be like, "Yeah, we have solidarity with our brothers and sisters in
So,
Hiroshima."
so I mean,
Minor
in reference
incident
to,
is
like,
my indie band name.
yeah, in not at all, like, this is obviously in no way offensive to genuine survivors of nuclear holocaust, but Alf is apparently a survivor of the
Right.
nuclear holocaust.
Yeah, exactly. And also like obviously no elderly Japanese people are going to listen to this because like almost
I hope
no
not.
elderly, people that I know are going to listen to this, or Americans, or
Oh,
even
I'll remember not to plug it on any.
or even compatriots really are going to listen to it, or
I think that elderly Japanese people have a level of dignity that would prevent them from even coming close to ever experiencing what we're making right now.
yeah. Well, positive generalizations are still
Yeah, are
generalizations.
they still generalizations?
Yeah.
Like, this was
So we should just like
just
not.
a small part of. I mean,
I might have started it. It might be my fault.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it is. I think the more we shift blame onto you right now, the better for me. So
I forgive the Japanese for Pearl Harbor. So that's my olive branch.
oh wow, we just keeping that train on track. There's
Right.
a couple of wobbles, and then we just veered right into a gorge.
Well, I'm still waiting for my apology for the comfort women.
From the comfort.
For the comfort women, and it affects all of us, not just the Koreans. It's a human problem. It's a human problem.
Oh Jesus!
All right, back to Alf.
We're going to hell. You know what? I'm sad that there's not a hell for us to go to. Actually.
So Alf actually manages to call Air Force One, and there's this like Abbott and Costello routine that happens, which is like almost not worth remarking on. Between like I don't even know, it's like a assistant to the president and then the assistant
Yeah,
to the
they just
assistant
seem
to
to
the
be like,
president.
because they're basically manning the switchboard, but they
Right.
seem to have a direct line to the president. So I guess
Yeah.
they're Mrs. Lanningham. Like, if we're going to a West Wing reference, these two guys collectively make up Mrs. Lanningham.
Yeah, I never watched the West
So
Wing.
also.
You've
full
really got to
support
watch
of
that
Mrs.
show, at least the
Lanningham.
first 5 series.
Yeah.
I feel like
Because
you go ahead.
they are far short of Mrs. Lanningham. Let's be.
Oh, yeah. She was much better.
Yeah, I mean even they. Yeah.
I mean, if the thing about West Wing is I just feel like it's sort of like it stays past, like it's,
Oh, yeah. Like, it was timely in the late 90s, early 2000s, and
yeah,
now it
so-
feels incredibly dated. Like, you're
Yeah.
watching this, and it's almost 50s style rose-colored glasses of the era.
right.
But that said, there's some good points. And
I feel like
it was
Aaron.
my primary method of learning about American politics.
Was it a Sorkin?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very Sorkin-esque.
It is-
Everything Sorkin does is sort of like this sort of hindsight wisdom where he's sort of like he's got a position and he reinforces the position by creating the events through which his point of view can be interpreted.
Yeah, it's also
straw
a
man.
very I guess, not really optimistic, but it lacks cynicism in certain ways, in ways that, it kind of inherently buys into like some rather problematic paradigms
I think
about American society.
I think actually what I've heard is that the show Veep is a much more accurate representation.
I've never watched that. That's the one with Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
Yeah.
Yes.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus in that, and the reason for that is because that's Armando Iannucci writing that again, who wrote The Thick of It. Created The Thick of It.
Well, that actually makes me want to watch it a lot more.
Yeah. I found that out, I think 2 days ago while I began watching The Thick of It. And, Armando Iannucci, anything he's involved in, I will take a gander at.
I don't know what The Thick of It is, but I'm
sure. It's a
You'd
show
like
about British... Yeah, it is, yeah.
And he's involved in Veep somehow.
It's Peter Capaldi. It's British politics, very cynical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Incredibly cynical. Like, no actual policy making gets done.
Well, do it. I'm in.
And they're not.
I'm all in.
It's really not even.
Wait, he's Doctor Who, right?
Now he is, yeah.
Now he is.
Capaldi, yeah. Okay.
This is prior.
Got it. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
So back to the terrible switchboard operators.
Yeah.
Like,
so
to be fair, like Alf, almost deliberately makes a hash of saying what he's going to say. Like, he leads into it in the most confusing way possible, which I have to assume is deliberate.
Well, it's interesting. They said the first line is one of these guys is like kind of a joke about being non-gender specific when answering the phone, like sir or madam, whichever is appropriate. Like it's
yeah,
big joke.
As the case may be.
Yeah, as the case may be. Like, what's up with that? Why is that funny?
And maybe it was funny in the 80s. I don't know. Maybe we're missing some kind of cultural framework for this.
80s also had that anti-PC sort of attitude.
Yeah, like it's so pedantic to not. Yeah. Hello, sir. Only a man could be calling the president.
Yeah.
Mr. Doctor.
I think now they just say, good evening or whatever.
Yeah, like hello.
Like they just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine
hello.
Gentlemen.
It's a very easy way to solve it. Just say hello.
Hello.
Not a hoy hoy.
Mr. Gentle Sir.
Yeah.
You are a man.
Graham Bell would have wanted. But.
I expect that you are male. Let's talk. Start now.
That's how I'm
I hope to hear a deep, booming, masculine voice. Go.
Yep. You are seeking my attention on the electric telephone.
Yeah.
Therefore.
So basically, Alf is trying to get through to the president.
Yeah. So there's this whole scene is really
described as
boring.
being
It sucks. So the guy, he gets through these guys. It's like he talks to, what's his name, Hogarth?
I didn't pay attention.
Defoe. I think it's Defoe. Defoe he talks to.
Hogarth is the dude answering the phones and tracing the calls, and then Defoe is the useless idiot playing solitaire and then making decisions.
Yeah, and Hogarth is the one that's like getting shit done, and Defoe is sort of
is like just a middleman.
It's all pomp and circumstance and no substance. He's like, he's the kind of guy that, or the real Ronald Reagan probably wouldn't have suffered gladly.
I think in his declining years, I don't think he would have given a shit.
Yeah.
He probably
maybe he wouldn't have suffered him in 1980. Like he would be out his ear.
Right. So Alf starts talking about bombs, and they're like, "Oh, it's a threat. Okay, go arrest Willie Tanner," because they were able to trace it, and they bust Willie. They just send the Popo FBI.
Yeah.
They seize him.
They do see two very well-dressed FBI agents come in.
Interesting procedural point here. I don't know this much about your law enforcement, but they seem to have put him in the local jail.
Yeah, no, this is the county jail. Yeah, that's what you do.
County jail, which for the FBI seems.
So you got to remember, this is pre 9/11. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh, okay. So dangerous terrorists.
They don't have secret detention centers.
Yeah. We weren't using Guantanamo Bay, for this kind of thing quite yet.
Yeah, there weren't black sites.
I just assumed that they would sort of take him to some kind of central FBI headquarters and keep him there rather than just.
Honestly, it's funny because this is probably more realistic than what they would do in like a modern procedural drama.
Right.
Like they would take him to this like giant center with like glass.
Yeah, it's like no, we're not going to drive him for 8 hours to
We're
like we're just going to take him to the local jail.
They'd stick him
that
somewhere.
Actually does make sense.
For like 40 hours without a lawyer.
and it seemed like there were no other prisoners or inmates at that
Well, I mean, given like
jail at the time.
they're in white bread suburbia. I don't know where they are. Somewhere like
Yeah.
really
They're
boring.
in California.
California.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't strike me as being too improbable. I don't know how long he was there for, but it's like the afternoon on a Saturday.
Well, I'm not saying that's improbable. I'm just saying that would be just a great place to keep him because there's no one at the jail.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't know if he asked for a lawyer, but he didn't have one.
Yeah.
Oh no, they're talking about a lawyer because his wife went and got a lawyer, right?
Did she?
Or was what she was talking. The reason she had to leave the conversation that
Now, would they tell the lawyer about Elf if it got to
Well, I
a real
sort of wasn't really
prosecution?
paying that much attention during this part, but I think that the impression I got was that Lynn and Willie were trying to get their stories straight,
Right.
pre-lawyer.
You'd think they would just admit it at least to the lawyer. I mean, there's a attorney-client privilege. He's not going to blab about the alien, right?
he might.
I'd like to see this episode where they loop in the attorney.
Also, I think, I mean, that would have been interesting, but Willie also appeared to be afraid of looking crazy.
This should have been a two-parter, and the whole second episode should have been like a courtroom drama.
Absolutely.
Would have been great.
I think they've definitely dropped the ball on this one. It could have really stretched the boundaries of television.
Yeah. So
And
one
Alf says.
of the FBI agents was Misak Taylor, who was in Designing Women. Talented actor, dead.
There we go. There's our quota.
Yeah, he died.
Bring out your dead.
Terminally ill and extremely weak, he nevertheless flew to his children in Indiana. I'm starting this in the middle, I think. Man, it doesn't say. I don't know. Somebody.
Fun fact, Harry Shearer played the president's voice later in the episode.
Really?
Really?
Yep.
That's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I can't figure out how Mishak? Is it Mishak?
Mishak? Not sure.
Mishak Taylor. I can't figure out how he died. Just Google it. This is important. This is the important stuff. This is where the real meat and potatoes of the podcast.
Yeah, how
This is
people
the grisly.
die.
Oh, here it is.
Minor
First result,
corrections.
cause of death. Colon cancer. Okay. That's great. That's what my father died of. That's great. Very uplifting.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's a note we wanted to hear. Excellent.
Okay. Well, let's try to keep it funny, guys, because I'm great in a great place now. So, just gonna snap out of it
Well, I
here.
mean, you'd be happy to know that Richard Sanders is still alive.
Yeah, nobody else was dead.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out when anyone else was born though. They were not even.
One of them
notable
was born
enough.
in 1940. That was the guy I just looked up. Arthur Rosenberg has a mini IMDb, and I'm not entirely sure he is still alive.
Yeah, that's the one I couldn't figure out.
Yeah, because he's got very little.
Yeah, the other one just didn't have much going on of note, so I just sort of glossed over it.
Harry Shearer, obviously, is still alive.
Yeah, but he recently almost quit The Simpsons, didn't he?
I thought he did quit.
He
but-
did,
Yeah.
but they got him back.
Oh, okay.
think
Well,
it
they
was
probably
just-
paid him some money.
And that would be as good as him dying, in my opinion, because that would be it's now you can hear him as all these different characters, and they would just go away, right? So for our experience of him, 'cause
Right.
we all watch
So-
The Simpsons
so
every
if-
week
yeah.
in and week
So-
out, every new episode, first in line.
So, I mean, if bad for you is equivalent to sad, then good, I assume, is happy. So,
No, you're oversimplifying.
okay.
I have a very complex range of emotional experience. Good can be happy or pleasurable.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's as good as him dying.
Yeah.
So other stuff happens. I wrote this down. I just wrote other stuff happens. Was messing with audio.
Well, I think most of what happens is that Alf continues to watch television and bitch on the phone to people until Lynn sort of guilts him into trying to fix his fuck up. He seems perfectly happy that
Right.
Willie's going to sit in
Yeah,
jail.
it's funny to him.
Yeah.
So basically, Alf comes up with this pretty clever plan to frame Brian for the
Yeah.
crime.
Now they were this is another pre 9/11 thing where they were basically counting on the fact that the FBI with basically, oh, as a child, well, never
Yeah,
mind then.
they're just
And I
gonna
did
shrug.
there was like another good line relating to that, but yeah, I don't know if that would fly nowadays.
Yeah, like, oh, I guess we don't have to do anything else because it was a kid. That's the end of this. But then, well, then later it turned out that Brian got like a medal from Ronald
He
Reagan.
got a plaque.
Which
Yeah,
I can only
plaque.
assume was another symptom of Reagan's Alzheimer's.
Yeah,
Like, he probably barely remembered the conversation on the phone. He just, like, scrolled some notes to that plaque. Alf,
yeah.
Byron.
It's like crusted with jelly beans and monkey hair from, Bedtime for Bonzo. It's a movie Ronald Reagan did.
Right.
I think it was mentioned in the episode.
It was, actually,
Yeah.
because had Alf kind of brought something up?
Yeah, it was bombs.
Bombs.
Said
that's right.
bombs,
He
and
just
Reagan
said was
heard.
bombs.
So this guy is such an idiot. He's like the president of the United States during the Cold War, and he hears bombs as bonzo.
But again, like, I took this as an Alzheimer's joke.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting though, because like I feel like people were really into Reagan, and it sounds like they kind of did make fun of him a lot. like,
Yeah,
towards the
I
end.
think he was pretty soundly mocked in this episode.
Yeah.
This is well into his second term, and as you pointed out, like, maybe if it had been made in 1982, things would have been.
Yeah, I
a
mean I
little
mostly just remember like a cartoon character version of Ronald Reagan. Like
I think I've only
was
seen the
around.
cartoon character version on The Simpsons,
Yeah, well,
where he was pretty soundly mocked, as I recall.
I feel like they were pretty easy on.
I think they were
Ronald
pretty
Reagan.
easy on him, given who he is and what he did. But
Yeah.
they're sort of lighthearted ribbing.
He did call Nancy mommy, but he did that in real life, so that's not even like a joke.
Yeah,
Ugh.
Yeah, it's gross.
Ugh.
Like he has intercourse with his mommy, like literally.
that's really disgusting.
What? Like,
Ugh.
I mean, even
More
if,
disgusting than the Thatcher orgies.
or I mean, like just the very fact that they had intercourse, is that the disgusting thing, or that it? Because like
No,
it's sort of,
that there was some kind of weird parental fantasy going on,
Yeah.
presumably
to
during
be
their
fair,
sex. Like,
Ronald
it's probably part of their sex play.
at the time, I'm sure Ronald Reagan's mother had been dead for like 40 years. So
That
it's
makes it
like-
even weirder. I mean, there's some kind of like
It's not
Norman
like
Bates thing.
he's not
happening.
like he's gonna get the shovel, and Tam, do you have any feelings or thoughts on this topic?
I was trying to think whether or not I did, and I found out that I don't have any feelings or thoughts about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have no thoughts about Ronald Reagan's sex life.
No, I have, more. I'm just trying to expunge that from my mind. I can't do anything about what he did, so
Yeah.
really, I feel like that tragedy takes up too much emotional energy every time I have to think about it.
So Brian gets a plaque, and the plaque is like, I'm also, dear Alf Brian, I'm also interested in world peace.
Yeah.
And it's like I like that's what the line was on Reagan, like he saved the world, he brought about the world peace. It's like, I don't know, does he have we decided that he deserves that credit in hindsight?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I mean not even close. So.
Like the escalation.
The opposite, if anything, if anything. So.
I think it's like a kind of tradition in like, and this is probably because it's family oriented. It's like not to rip into a sitting president too hard. Like you kind of accept them as like doing the best they can or whatever.
Yeah, and like sort of like now in most shows they don't talk about how like Obama's from Kenya, and like it's like Muslim internment camps and like
Glossing over these
we'll
truth
get
or
into-
facts.
It's like because that's pretty well known among the the literati
cognoscenti.
here. Yeah. Tam, do you have any strong feelings about Obama? Why he hasn't shown his birth certificate yet? Like, what does he have to hide? Why not just why not just share it?
I think that what he has to hide is the illegitimacy of his entire presidency. So I think he's fairly invested in this thing.
Good point. That's very erudite.
Yeah. It's very irradiated.
Yeah. Do you write for Breitbart.com?
I don't write for Breitbart.com. I write for the Daily Mail.
That's it.
And this is the American division of the Daily Mail.
Yeah, that would be a sweet gig.
Yeah. We make our cousins in the UK look like a bunch of goddamn commies.
Yeah. And it's like, it's like this guy was playing golf when Benghazi was burning down.
Yeah. So
It's messed
you know,
up.
he's so yeah. I mean, obviously Barack Obama's presidency was completely illegitimate. He shouldn't have been elected in the first place because he was not eligible.
Yeah.
You know,
Come on,
I
you're preaching to the choir here.
I can't keep it up.
Nick
Jesus Christ!
totally
I
agree
fucking-
with this. Like, it's-
I was waiting to see how long it would take Tam to crack.
God
persona.
damn it! I fucking hate the guy that I was playing. The one that just acts so calm about it is like, well, this is a completely reasonable position. Yeah.
Prefer the
I'm sorry.
frothing rants.
That's the sound I make when I start expunging.
yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
You've made Tam viscerally reject his own organs.
Yeah.
Pretty much doing like ripping off
They
Stephen
are gonna
Colbert
pile
too a
in
little bit.
front of
Like
me, so if you guys like to continue with the podcast, I'm going to proceed with sewing these back in.
the thing is, like, it's basically the Stephen Colbert shtick too, so it wasn't even original. It was like, I'm conservative.
I'm getting
like,
straight face pretending to be a rancid Republican.
Well, I believe. So Willie at the end is like encroaching on Alf's space, like he's pissed because he was publicly humiliated. It looks like he's gonna like just beat Alf with a hose or something.
Yeah, I think he probably was. Like, we've talked before about the sheer rage that is Willie Tanner.
Yeah. Which carried over.
It was not, weirdly enough, it was not actually on display that much in this episode.
No.
Like, it seems like the minor inconveniences of life with Alf, like, just get him on edge, whereas, actually having himself thrown in jail is like, oh, well,
yeah.
This is
These
what
things happen.
What life is.
Yeah.
And Kate was pretty chill too. She was like, I don't
Yeah,
mind.
she was really calm about
She
the
was
whole thing.
totally fine with Alf being on the phone because it keeps him from doing other bad stuff. That was pretty chill.
Yeah, like, she seems she's coming around on the whole Alf thing. Like, she was very against, him just in general.
Yeah.
So
And now she's like, well, he's here, I guess.
yeah, and I thought it was funny too that she walked in at the end, and the dude, Mishak Taylor, was like, "Did you change your hair?" And I just thought they were kind of making a dig about how awful her hair is.
she
It's
never
like,
changed her hair.
Of course not. I wouldn't do this on purpose, Mishak. This is.
Yeah, this.
I woke up like this 3 days ago.
I
haven't
woke
bathed
up like
since.
this.
Come on, you're in my house, man. This is what I look like behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So at the very end, we close out with what Alf calls, I think, the talk show again, and the guests are Muammar Gaddafi and Charo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And do you guys have any feelings about either of those characters?
Muammar Gaddafi, no feelings at all there. And Charo, well, I mean, there's just too much to even begin to fit into this format. So.
Charo, I never really related to Charo as a reference because I didn't ever see anything she was in, so it was always one of those like.
Oh, I don't actually know who Charo is. I just realized.
She was like a Spanish kind of weird.
Yeah.
She,
But having
she had
him
like
as
something like a hoochie coochie dance or something like that. I don't know.
But having like a Libyan autocrat, you were totally fine with.
Well, the funniest thing I know about Muammar Gaddafi is that he had a secret binder full of pictures of Condoleezza Rice.
Really?
Yeah, he was like he was obsessed with her. Like he was totally, and like I think he actually like flew her to Libya to like woo her or something.
That is some pretty good trivia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm mostly familiar with him as a man of very strange hats. But...
I think he like called her his like African princess or something like that. I hope I'm not making that up because if I am, it's probably racist. But like, if it's true,
I'm
then
on
it's just
Wiki now because I'm curious.
Well, could you just corroborate it, even if it's a lie, just so. Like,
Wait. We're talking about Condoleezza Rice here?
Yeah, but like I feel like I'm quoting Muammar Gaddafi, so it's not racist. But like if I'm not, then it probably is. So this is like I'm on the edge of my seat here. Like, I don't know if this might be the big reveal.
His wiki page doesn't mention Rice at all, but I should say, it's open.
So the whole thing, I just made up the whole thing. I'm just what you're saying. And that's probably like.
No,
even
I'm
more.
saying that,
that's a show. It's from something. Hold on.
Here we go. Horrendously creepy details about Gaddafi's Condoleezza Rice obsession. Here you go. I found a whole article about it.
Does it say something about African princess?
I'll have to read the article, but
It sounds like something he'd say.
Oh, yeah,
maybe
it's not.
he
It's true.
asked visitors why his African princess wouldn't visit him.
Thank you. I'm not a racist, officially. I mean, I benefit from a racist system, and I admit that. And
Yeah.
I am aware enough.
Because your mind didn't like invent some anecdote fully formed about calling rice.
An African princess, yeah.
You're safe.
I would feel really uncomfortable if that my brain manufactured that fact. But
Yeah.
having now been exonerated, I feel just like a very smart guy. Like a clever,
Yeah.
like a clever.
Apparently, he had a song written for her called "Black Flower in the White House."
So that would be really racist
God.
too if we made it up, but it's true, so it's not.
I like this article. It's a Vanity Fair article. Yes, Lisa. I love her very much, he told Al Jazeera, like some kind of despotic Nabokov.
Well, he's not a pedophile.
A great.
Yeah,
symbol.
she's. I
Yeah,
mean,
she's
at the time, I
in the
think
age
she
of
was
consent. Yeah.
between
She's definitely
40
of an
and
age
45 and
that is
55.
acceptable.
She's a classically trained pianist too.
She is. She's supposed to be very good.
You know, she's a brilliant woman. She sort of got sucked into the Bush
Oh,
quagmire.
you know you're an apologist for rice?
Yeah, I'm a little bit.
He was like
yeah.
independently capable of being horrid.
I don't. I feel like she was sort of a product of the machine that she was. Because, like, I mean, you know, she's a woman of color. She's very
She
accomplished.
chose to
very,
serve in a Republican presidency.
yeah, but still, I mean, it's like she had a limited array of options before her, and it's like, what was she gonna do? She was gonna rebel. Like, I mean, come on, she thought she was serving her country.
Well, we should probably save this for the Condoleezza Rice podcast. That we're doing.
Well, this is now it. This is gonna be. Do you guys have another hour? Because it's gonna be Condi.
I don't know if I have an hour's worth of Condoleezza.
It's not gonna be very well researched, but it's gonna be good.
Maybe we should watch like a sitcom length version of like Condoleezza Rice escapades.
Tam, do you do a Condoleezza Rice voice? I know
I don't
you're
know
like
why
a
you
voice.
think I would.
You do like voices sometimes, so like
I do
like
do
your
voices
broadcasting
sometimes.
voice.
No, I don't do a Condoleezza Rice voice.
Condi. Nick, you're a
No, Condi is
woman.
outside my range.
you presumably could do a Condi if you tried hard enough.
No,
and Nick is
years to that, sure.
no, but
maybe.
Nick could easily because she's a woman. Because
Yeah.
she's got the
And
right.
they're notoriously good at accents. Obviously.
Well, it's more that Byron is implying that all women sound alike.
No,
Oh,
but
well,
it's
I'm sure
like,
him they do because he's an inveterate
it's
chauvinist.
not that. It's just what range of what's the word, like pitch? What the
Yeah,
you know?
timbre, pitch,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tremolo.
the tremolo.
Yeah.
They've got the same tremolo.
I'm digging this picture of Gaddafi. He's got like this cool scarf covered in just the entire African continent. Like,
I like the one where he's just all in gold and his face has been ravaged by time, but his hair is jet black, clearly dyed.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful image.
he was actually stabbed in the rectum before he died. Is that a uplifting, hilarious fact for the wrapping up this podcast?
It's an odd one.
So
Yeah.
strange way, awful probably way to die, and really morbid to mention in a humor,
so.
again, a humor podcast. But I think we've established that that's not what this is, right? This is just a documentary of, you know, sort of chilling facts, right? Just like a list of just haunting facts, right?
Well, yeah, it's certainly going to haunt me.
Tam, do you feel more haunted?
He got stabbed right in the butthole.
Did you look it up?
Yeah, I'm on Wiki now reading like the whole thing about his death.
Yeah, it was a grisly affair.
Yeah, it's horrible.
But he was a bad guy, though.
Oh yeah, he was not a nice person. Like he did not deserve to die well. But I don't know if anyone really deserves to die by being stabbed in the arsehole.
No.
Quite that badly. Yeah, that was Jesus.
So Alf, are we done with the Alf? Did we cover it? We get.
Yeah, was there anything else? I mean, I don't know. I think props to the writers for actually coming up with something that vaguely resembled a sitcom in this particular instance. I think they did a good job with the sets. I mean, you know, they mocked up an Air Force One out of cardboard. They looked very fake, but they were real chairs.
So you're saying we nailed it?
Yeah, I think they nailed it, and I think we nailed it.
Yep, it was a double nailing. We nailed it.
Never use that phrase again.
See if I can find a montage of people saying "nailed it" on YouTube.
So just to be clear, we're never using the phrase "double nailing" ever again.
Yeah, I think that's about.
Okay.
I'm okay with it personally. Double nail. It's sort of like a double dog dare.
Oh dear.
But like you just did it that well, you know.
Yeah.
There's nothing there's nothing dirty about it.
No.
I don't think so.
No. Okay. Well, we'll just have to use it.
It's a family. It's a family show. Come on.
Yeah. It's a family show, but is this a family podcast?
Oh, that's a tough question. I mean, I would allow my family to listen to it if I had one.
It's as classic as the is-ought dilemma.
Right, yeah. I don't know what that means, but just let it go.
It's a fact value distinction. Is that what that's called? Nick, you know things. Is that the fact value distinction?
I'm going to say yes. I wasn't actually listening, but it sounds likely.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks guys for joining. It's been a fun.
No problem.
Been
not contributing.
You contributed. It was a fun hoot.
Yeah, we had a hoot.
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I feel better.
I learned that the next one might be even better. The Alf might be on an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
Well, just
let's not get too hopeful, but
yeah.
The next episode is. Oh, I'm googling it. I'm not that fast with the Google.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's really confusing. List of Alf episodes. There's nothing confusing about that. Keeping the Faith, written by Peter Boners.
Peter Boners.
Yeah, Peter Boners.
He read a lot of episodes, I believe.
Yeah, he's heavily involved in the production.
Yeah. Well, this should be good.
But yeah, boners are a big part of Alf.
So this is probably going to be about like Alf trying to indoctrinate the Tanners into his strange Melmac religion.
I hope so. I hope it's an obvious
8,000
parody of
headed.
Scientology.
I'm interested in comparative religion, so I'm actually very interested to see what Melmacian, an example of Melmacian theology. I wonder if it'd be completely alien to ours, or if they just worship Jesus, like
probably very
they
similar
probably
to,
worship Jesus, but he's actually a different animal.
Yeah.
But that sounds like the kind of level of theological discourse that Alf writers would come up with.
He'd probably be like a cat, just because they seem to just
everything defaults to cat.
Just mix it up. Everything can be a cat. Why not? You eat cats. The cats sing apparently.
There's no results for religion found on the Alf Wiki, so it seems like it's a topic they didn't really tackle.
Yeah.
Or the people in the Alf Wiki are religion shy.
Oh, I have a sneak peek, a heads up. We might have a special guest for the next episode.
Oh,
really?
That's exciting.
Who will that be?
Jan van den Hemel.
Oh, very exciting.
May or may not, and I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, be doing some type of Star Trek edit that involves Alf in some way.
Oh wow!
I think that's a major spoiler, but I'll let it ride.
No, but nobody's going to listen to this, so
that's true.
Yeah.
Thank God. Certainly, no Japanese people are going to hear it, which I think we can all be thankful for.
I think he actually might have mentioned it in one of the things we did with the Star Trek. So
Van den Hemel. Okay.
Yeah. Gazora, the YouTube TNG Star Trek edit guy.
Yeah, no, I got that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I probably should have introduced him better because there's just like no crossover between this show and the other one that I do with him. Nobody would listen to both.
No, that would be madness.
Well, I mean, nobody listens
completely
to either.
different demographics.
Nobody listens to either, so both is included in either, I think. All right, guys. Well, this is good.
All right.
Round of applause.
Yep.
Next time, keeping the faith.
Yep.
We did it.
This is another one down. We did it. Nailed it.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Did we double nail it though? Okay.
I will hang up, I guess.
All right. Bye.